HTML colors are specified with predefined colors named RGB or RGBA, which is red, green, and blue, HEX, which is hexadecimal color, HSL and HSLA, which is hue, saturation, and lightness. So first let's jump over to the RGB color, RGB and RGBA. An RGB color value represents red and green and blue. The RGBA color value is an extension of RGB with an alpha channel. First we will talk about RGB, then we will talk about RGBA later on. In HTML, a color can be specified as an RGB value using this formula. First RGB, then its parameter. Each parameter, red, green, and blue, defines the intensity of the color with the value between 0 and 255. This means that there are 256 will be equal to this number as you can see on the screen. For example, RGB 255 and 00 is displayed as a red because red is set its highest value, which is 255, and the two other green and blue are set to 0. Another example, which is 0, 255 and 0, is displayed as a green because green is set its highest value, which is 255, and two others, red and blue, are set to 0. And this one, as you can see, is the blue because the blue is set to its highest value and two others are 0. The other topic which we talked about is RGBA. RGBA color value are an extension of RGB color values with an alpha channel which is specified the opacity for a color. An RGB color value is specified with red, green, blue, and alpha. So the other color is hexadecimal. Hexadecimal color is specified with this formula as you can see. First 2R, then 2Gs and 2Bs. 2R is equal to red, and 2G is equal to green, and 2B is equal to blue. The hexadecimal integers specify the component of a color. The hexadecimal color can be specified using the hexadecimal value as you can see on the formula, where 2R are red, G's are green, and 2B is blue. Hexadecimal value between 20 and F same has a decimal 0 to 255. For example, hexadecimal value is hashtag #F and 0 formula will equal to red color because the red, which is 2R, the first one, is the highest value and two others are 0. And the second you can see F hashtag 20 and 2F, and at the end it was 20 is displayed as a green because green is set to its highest value, which is 2F, and two others are 0. And the last one, as you can see, the blue is the highest value because that's why it's blue color. To display black, set all colors parameters to 0, and to display white, set all colors parameters to F. Right, so let's talk about HSL color or HSLA color, which is hue, saturation, and lightness, or hue, saturation, and lightness alpha is the same as a RGB color. In HTML, a color can be specified using the hue, saturation, and lightness, which is HSL, in the formula. As you can see, HSL and then hue, saturation, and light. The hue is the degree on the color wheel from 0 to 360. 0 is red, 120 is green, and 240 is blue. Saturation is the percentage value. 0% means a shade of gray, and 100% means full color. Lightness is also percentage value. 0 is black and 100% is white. The saturation can be described as the intensity of a color. 100% is pure color, no shades of gray. 50% is 50% gray, but you can still see the color. 0% is completely gray. You can no longer see the color. The lightness of a color can be described as how much light you want to give the color, where 0% means no light, which is black, but 50% means 50% light, neither dark nor light, and 100% means full light, which is white. The HSLA color value are an extension of HSL color value with an alpha channel, which specifies the opacity or a color. This is the formula of HSLA color. The alpha parameter is the number between 0.0, fully transparent, and 1.0, not transparent at all. So now let's jump over to the code section. Let's practice all these colors with the code section. These are the colors that I used their name. As you can see, the first one is color name tomato, green, medium sea green, gray, slat blue, so light gray and tomato. So now let's jump over and see. As you can see, these are the color that I use their name by using the name that we have talked about before. So now let's check the RGB color. As you can see, the heading 2 style color is equal to RGB color that I have used. The first one, which is red, you can see, the second one green, and the third one blue. So now let's check. See, red, green, and blue. And the last one that I've used opacity, which is RGBA color. This is RGBA color. Let's check their opacity. As you can see, this is the opacity that I have used. Now let's add some differences. Let's use 2 instead of 5. Let's save this. Now let's check what will happen. Let's refresh. You can see the opacity is a little bit lighter. Now let's use a little darker. Let's use 8 instead of 5. Let's save this. Let's see how it looks. See, it's a little bit darker. So that's the RGB or RGBA color that we have used. Now let's check the hexadecimal color value. Let's use the heading. Let's add a style, color, and let's use the hashtag FF with 4 zeros. Now let's add the text X color. Let's save this. Now let's jump over to the browser. Let's refresh, and as you can see, first double F and 4 others are 0 is equal to red color. Now let's copy this and check the other one. Let's make these two 0 and let's make these two double F. Now let's check. Let's refresh, and as you can see, it is green. Now let's do the same thing to display the blue color. Save this. Let's refresh. As you can see, this is the blue color. Now let's use a little different color, double E82 and double E. Let's save this and let's refresh. This is a different color. So this is the using hexadecimal value. So now let's jump over to HSL and HSLA color. Heading 1, and let's add style, color. You can use, as I mentioned before, the HTML is not case sensitive. You can use the color with lower case and capital. Both of them are the same. First, let's use HSL color. Add the first one to 0, the second one 100%, and the third one is 50%. As I mentioned before, the first one is a hue, which is a degree on the color well from 0 to 350. So the first one, which is 0, is equal to red. If the first is equal to 220, this will display the green, and if the first value was 240, it will display the blue. First, let's check this, then we will test the other two ways as well. First, let's display this. So I think I didn't add any text. So this is HSL color. Let's save this. Now let's refresh. As you can see, this is a red color. Now let's change this to 120. It will display the green color. So let's save this. As you can see, there is a green color. And if we make this to 240, this will display the blue color. Now let's refresh. As you can see, it's a blue color. Now the two other saturation, this is the percentage of the color. So let's make this one to 0%. Let's save this. Now let's refresh. As you can see, the 0 means shade of a gray. It will display the gray color. So if we change the last one to 0 as well, what will happen? Let's check. See, it's like a dark color. As you can see, black dark color. Now let's check. If we use this as a 100%, what will happen? It's the same, because the last one, which is lightness, is into the dark. If we print the light one, nothing will display it because it will completely light. As you can see, we have a text, but it's not going to display because the last one, which is lightness, is 100%. If we make this to 80%, it will be displayed light dark. Now let's jump over to the HSLA color. Let's copy this and paste it right here, and here we are going to use a HSLA color, and we will use opacity. Let's make this to 0, and that's why the opacity will be displayed. So now 0.5. Let's save this. Now let's refresh. As you can see, this is the opacity of the HSLA color. Now let's use this little bit lighter. Let's use, instead of 5, just add 2. Now let's refresh this. You can see the HSLA will, the A, which is alpha, use the alpha channel, will display some changes into opacity of the text. So now if we add 8 here, let's display this, and you can see it is. So hope you enjoy and hope you understand. If you didn't subscribe my YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe this channel and hit the bell icon so you will get the notification of my new video when I upload them. And if you have any question, please leave the comment below.